Hey everybody. So recently there was a pretty huge Team Fortress update, about the biggest there's ever been. And there are some pretty darn major changes to Spy. For one, the Kunai was buffed. You start out with 10 more health than you did before, which is 70. And the overheal goes to 200 instead of 180 as it was before. With a new damage reduction from the invisibility watch, which is about 20%, after getting a stab with the Kunai, you're nearly invincible. And if you jump around and surf the damage you're taking, it's really hard to kill a spy after that stab. And it can lead to just a tremendous number more stabs than you get normally. Of course, the stock knife is really great too. With the new damage resistance on the IW, having that the highest amount of health you can really allows you to get the highest chance of getting a single pick. With the Kunai, of course, it's harder to get one pick, but easier to get two. This pretty much means that in Highlander, the stock knife is still going to be the best option over the Kunai, because in higher level play, it's very hard to get a kill to death ratio of over 1. Now here with the change of the patch, the invisibility watch also now decreases the duration of effects like Girardi, being on fire, and milk, as long as you're cloaked. That's why I stayed cloaked there, and it actually ended up saving me the reduced time that the effect was applied, and I was visible. And there's the stab. Notice I jump after stabbing the soldier. That allows me to ride the sentry fire away from it. You take less damage the farther things that you get from things, and of course you'll get out of the radius of its fire much quicker. Now this is the UGC Platinum Highlander match. The Denringer has been severely nerfed. The damage reduction used to be 90, and on the first hit it's now 50%, and the damage reduction scales downwards over time. So you can really use it you can't use it to tank damage like you used to. The counter buff is that you get a 3 second speed boost after each feign, which actually can be very useful for getting away from pyros in particular. But the general opinion amongst spies and myself is that the Denringer nerf is pretty severe and it's going to make it a lot less viable in those situations. This just happens to be a map that I've always found is really suitable for the DR, and even with the changes, I still find the Denringer to be the best watch to use for gun-heavy play, which is basically what I'm doing on this map. And of course, lets you, just kind of take a little more damage to cap the point and stuff like that. But you can't. Another thing is you can't pick up Mettle while you're running. And with the speed boost, you want to decloak as fast as possible too. But notice there's just not a whole lot of situations in which the nerf is really affecting what's going on here. Mostly I'm just getting the speed boost, and the decreased damage reduction hasn't really come into play yet. I'm being very conservative about exposing myself to damage, and yeah, the downside actually is rather negligible in this particular match. But typically, the Denringer has been almost nerfed to oblivion. In my personal opinion, the nerf wasn't necessary. I ran the invisibility watch and cloak and dagger more together than the Denringer and Platinum, and generally found them much more versatile and powerful. And it's a little odd that the other watches got buffed while the Denringer was so severely nerfed. But we have gotten some really fun new toys. The Big Earner has become an excellent choice too, and it actually might be viable in Highlander. Well, it's yet to be seen. And we'll go into that in a later video. I'd like to focus on the Kunai and the stock knife for this one. But I do promise I'll cover that item in a later video. Now you can be, once you've got that overheal, you can be really aggressive with the Kunai, especially with the new damage reduction with the cloak. You can do really aggressive decloaks to see if they'll work, and if they react, you can cloak again, hop away, and have enough health to get and make a pretty easy escape. It reminds me of the old DR, in that the aggression allowed and the escape potential is just so high that you can really go for trick stabs a whole lot more than you would otherwise. Use the knife aggressively, keep your health very high, and yeah, use the Lit Ranger to keep your cloak high as well. But I really do prefer the Lit Ranger with the knives that require you to get a stab before they really pay off. you know, just the passive bonus is really great if you're focusing on the knife instead of shooting things with your gun. And of course, the cloak given on hit is really useful. It keeps you mobile and active. Now check out how aggressive I'm being. I've got 184 health, so I know they can't kill me in one hit. And now that my health gets low, I cloak, hop, and move unpredictably. Notice I kind of keep my eyes on them, but maneuver such that it's still hard for me to hit. The key to kind of dodging with the invisibility watch is really watching your enemy's sightline, where they think, and kind of predicting their predictions, and reading their sightline. Another time to really cloak aggressively is against distracted opponents, especially when you've got enough cloak to make an escape if they do notice you. Okay, well, let's go to the spawn. And by the way, it's still okay to use your gun, especially if your over heal's already pretty high. Now note how aggressive these decloaks are. That's by ran straight at me. Don't hold W, you're gonna lose. I simply strafe to the left, snappy view to the right, and matador him. Do not hold W when you're running out of spy, no matter what class you are. And on a side note, never backpedal. That's when the really, truly buggy face stabs that are undeserved happen, is when the target's backpedaling. It really does bug out, and face stabs happen quite regularly. So yeah, strafe, don't backpedal. Okay. Juicy spawn. I thought he'd be going up the ramp to pursue me, but he seems a little indecisive about that. Not gonna worry about that spy too much. Okay. Not much noise here. I don't really have the overheal to be confidently doing this, but I just have the strangest sense that these guys are deaf. And that intuition turns out to be right. So let's go ahead and keep harassing this area while we can. I do like kind of crippling engineers. That really matters on these payload maps, and it's just fun. I've got the overheal, so I'm gonna be super aggressive about pursuing that scout. I really don't want him to get away. Okay, now here's old Deafy. Let's see if he's learned. Oh, yeah, he did. But you see, I'm still able to get away. Got a little bit of overheal, and the damage reduction with the cloak is just so clutch. Now, you kind of want to wait around for people to stop spy checking. Oftentimes, many people are especially vulnerable right after they spy check. They'll kind of do it, and they're like, okay, well, you know, I did that, and time to get back to my business. And, you know, you can simply wait till you kind of read that they're done spy checking. Decloak quickly and aggressively, especially if you've got it over heal or full health, and you know, get kind of a cheap shot in. You also want to, with your decloaks, really it's extremely important to know the models. You need to know what the field of view is according to the model to get the tightest decloaks. Typically you want to decloak directly to the side of someone rather than behind them, so if they turn around, there's a chance you can get a side stab on them if they turn in the right direction. And it's just more easily avoided. It makes for easier escapes, just because it's a little disoriented for them to do 180 and expect you behind them when you're actually right next to them. Okay, now I'm getting a little cocky, and I'm about ready to die, so let's just be a jerk.